Sometimes swimmers' skills get stuck, and when they do, we need strategies to break them out of the rut so they can continue to learn. Hi everyone, Andrew here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. No matter how effective the skill development strategies are that you're using, at some point they stop working quite as well as they did at first. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we need to find new strategies. In many cases, we just need a different way to challenge swimmers. In this video, we're going to talk about a great strategy that's really effective for getting swimmers to change their skills. Let's check it out. No matter how focused you are as a coach on helping swimmers improve their skills, and no matter how focused swimmers are on improving their skills, at some point they often get stuck. Whatever skills you're working on, whatever drills you're working on, whatever other strategies you're working on, swimmers stop responding in a way that they did at first. So one potential issue is that a lot of swimmers are going to have a stroke rate comfort zone. What I mean by that is they have a stroke rate that they tend to fall into in most cases. And unfortunately, it's not always the optimal stroke rate for them based upon the task that they're doing. And especially with drills, when there isn't a lot of pressure to perform in some way, they're going to probably perform the drill in the same basic way using the same stroke count. And unfortunately, if there's no change, it's difficult for the skills to improve in that case. And if things aren't changing, it's very difficult for swimmers to improve. And as I'm sure you know, change can be very difficult. And when swimmers do try to change, very small changes often feel like very big changes. And they're very uncomfortable for swimmers, so they tend not to stick with them, and they tend to revert back to what's comfortable, which again, isn't necessarily optimal. Swimmers don't understand how much different it's going to feel for it to actually be different, and for it to be better, it's going to have to be different. And so it's going to feel very different, and they don't trust that, they don't like that, and so they tend to revert back into their comfort zone, which again, is not what we're looking for if we're trying to help swimmers improve their skills. So because it's very uncomfortable for swimmers, if we simply ask them to change it, ask them to do it a little bit differently, it's not always super successful. In most cases, we need to force it. We need to get them to change, make sure they do something very different. And even if it's uncomfortable for them, make sure they continue to execute it that way by giving them some sort of task, some sort of feedback that lets them know how much they need to change and lets them know if they're continuing to execute that change. So how can we do that? One of my favorite ways is either increasing or decreasing stroke rates. Why is it so powerful? Because it makes swimmers change. They have to do something different. So how do you apply it? You can give them a tempo trainer so that they've got the metronome in their head that's going to give them instant feedback whether they're doing something different or not. And then you can have them increase the stroke rate so it's faster. You can have them decrease the stroke rate so it's faster. You're trying to push them out of their comfort zone. And because they have that beep in their head, they're going to have to do something different. And if you ask them to use stroke rates that are either higher or lower than what they're used to, they're going to have to change their skills, they're going to have to change their stroke, and now we've started the process of change. And the cool part is that it doesn't matter what type of activity you're doing. You could be doing aerobic freestyle, you could be doing fast breaststroke drills. The same concept can apply in every case. You just take what their normal stroke rate is and you change it. You make it faster, you make it slower. The power is that the stroke rate makes them do something different. And that means they're going to move in new ways through the water. So if they've been performing a certain drill or even just they're swimming the same way all the time in the same situation, now they're going to have to do something different. And if it's different, it has the potential to be better. There's more opportunity for things to be better. And so if we want change, and change is necessary for improvement, just adding a stroke rate and then changing the stroke rate given the task can be a very powerful way to get swimmers to move through the water differently so they can move through the water better. So how can we use this strategy optimally? Well, it's an effective strategy in every single training context, whether that's race work, speed work, or endurance work. And it's really effective in skill sets. So if we're performing a drill, you can have them go higher rates or lower rates, and that's going to force them to execute to explore that drill in different ways. Way too often, swimmers are going to perform a drill in the same exact way without much focus, without much intention. But if you make a major change in their stroke rate, they're going to have to change how they perform that drill in a very significant way. That's going to get their attention. That's going to get their focus. That's going to get change. The cool part of this strategy, I mentioned it earlier, is that you can use it during any type of activity. You can use it with full stroke. You can use it with drills. You can use it with anything. You can also use it with any type of skill development strategy. So it could be full stroke swimming with a training aid. It could be drills with hand postures. It could be full stroke with resistance. It could be drills with resistance. It could be drills with hand postures and training aids. And in each case, you're changing their stroke rate. You're forcing them to do whatever activity it is. They're going to have to do it differently. That's going to create some sort of change. And then over time, you can start to push them in the direction. You can start to get the changes that you're looking for. So if swimmers are stuck with their skills or they're not getting what you'd like out of whatever activity that they're doing, simply changing their stroke rate, making it higher, making it lower is a very, very powerful way to get change. And once swimmers are changing how they're swimming, they can start improving how they're swimming. Here's a breaststroke set. We're working on timing and we're using stroke rates to make that happen. So they're gonna go 3 rounds through 825s odd underwater breaststroke, evens are breaststroke. They're gonna decrease the stroke rate 0.1 seconds per cycle every 2. So it's gonna get slower every 2. So on the odds, they're doing underwater breaststroke, really good for timing. The evens, they're swimming. And each pair of 2, we're slowing the stroke rate. So we're spreading out the timing. They're gonna be forced to execute good timing, but at slower stroke rates every 2 repetitions. Then they're gonna go 50 breaststroke, and then they're gonna go 8 more 25s, but now we're gonna increase the stroke rate. So now they're gonna have to execute good timing, but they have to do it faster and faster and faster. Then they're gonna go another 50 breaststroke, see if they can put it together, and then each round through those 50 breaststrokes, they're trying to get faster. So rather than just doing the drill and hoping that they figure out whatever we're looking for, we're gonna ask them to change their stroke rate to get more out of that drill, and that's going to challenge them to change. It's going to challenge them to figure out how to execute great timing over a bigger span of rates. We'll have them practice using a slower rate and a faster rate. So again, they can expand their ability to swim with great timing across a range of stroke rates. Next set is a similar concept, except we're working on freestyle, and we're going to go freestyle timing here. 2 rounds through 475s. They're going to go 50 over under freestyle. So one arm is recovering over the water, one arm is recovering under the water, and then they're going to go a 25 freestyle. So each 75, they decrease the stroke rate. You can make it a big decrease, you can make it a small decrease. So the rate's gonna be slower as they go. So the second set of 75s, we're gonna increase the stroke rate, but we're gonna match the stroke rates that we used on the way down, and swimmers are gonna try to swim faster than they did on the 475s at the same stroke rate. So one, we're challenging them to change their rate, change their timing, both up and down. And the second time, when they increase the rate each time, they're trying to go faster than they did when they used the same rate on the way down. So we're challenging them to change their timing, to expand their skill sets, and we're asking them to perform at the same time. So rather than just doing the drill and hope it all works out, we're going to put them in situations where we're forcing them to change, we're forcing them to execute their skills more effectively. Next set is a backstroke set, more of a speed orientation. They're going to go 4 rounds through. The odd rounds are with a buoy. The even rounds are without a buoy. So they're going to go a 25 head up backstroke and a 25 backstroke. They're going to repeat that for 6 total 25s each round. They're all as fast as possible, but they're going as fast as possible at a stroke rate. So that stroke rate is going to get a little bit faster each set of 2. So hopefully swimmers can go faster each set of 2. And what we're working on here is we're working on the timing of the rhythm and the rotation and the entry with the head up backstroke. That's going to force swimmers to rotate more aggressively, and they've got to get the entry timing and the rotation timing synced up to be effective. And then they're going to try to apply that to their regular backstroke and create more speed. So rather than just having them do the head up backstroke and just try to tell them to feel it, we're going to put them in a position where 1, we're changing their stroke rate, and 2, they're trying to create speed with that stroke rate at the same time. And we're going to give them the opportunity to take what they learned during the drill and apply it during the swim each and every set. So just by changing the stroke rate, we can get a lot more engagement, a lot more learning, as opposed to just having swimmers do the drill. If you want to learn more about how to use stroke rates to help swimmers improve their skills and improve their speed, check out the video below.